What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Sly here, and thanks for checking out another Wrath of the Machine raid guide. Now, if you missed my previous guides, you can find them all right here in my raid guide playlist. Just click this right here, and another browser window will open up and take you all to the other guides. Vosic and the Siege Machine are both already in there, and since they are pretty much the hardest one to manage this time around, they might interest you all as well. But this guide is all about Aksis, and if you're watching this, then I'm assuming you guys already know the mechanics from normal mode. If not, then watch my Aksis guide, which is also in the playlist I just mentioned. I'm going to go over Phase 1 and 2 in this one video because honestly there isn't that much of a difference between normal and hard mode, so explaining them all together should be fairly easy. Alright, well let's get to it, shall we? After you all beat the siege engine and you make your drop down into Aksis's cube, divide your team into the same thing you would do for normal mode, 3 teams of 2. I recommend one sword on every side to take down the captains. Warlock with self-res or hunters with invis grenades work very well here. I recommend that the other person who takes down the captain is the one who grabs the cannon, but that choice is ultimately up to you. Now, the only difference in Phase 1 is that there are automated turrets just like you would see in the Wretched Eye or Sepic's Perfected Strike. They are extremely annoying, but it is something you could easily take care of. Alright, go ahead and start it up, and just like the normal raid, take care of the Dregs and the Vandals. Use a sword to clean up that Vandal Major before you rush in. Now, be sure to clean up all of the adds that end up hiding behind cover. Once all of the adds are down, have the person with the sword rush the captains. While this happens, it's the job of the person who's going to be throwing the Siva charge to take out the automated turret and provide a little cover to the guy rushing in. A few scout rifle shots or one sniper round does the trick nicely. And guys, honestly, that's pretty much it. The one who throws the Siva charge should stay on their own side. Middle always stays middle, left always stays left, and of course right, well, you stay right. Only throw your own charge unless of course someone else dies, but let's assume here that everyone stays alive. The third round of Phase 1 is also exactly the same. The player who grabs the cannon needs to roam around to find all 3 of their servitors. While you roam around, it's best to use an extra cannon shot to also take out the turrets, keeping the charge thrower safe. So after you take down your first servitor on the third round, turrets will more than likely be coming back online around the same time. As you make your way to your second servitor, just shoot the turret beforehand so that way the charge thrower can do their job. Once you down your second servitor, head towards your third, also shoot that automated turret as well, and then go ahead and down your last servitor. The cannon guys actually have the hardest part, downing the captain with the sword and then roaming the map, so it's up to the throwers to take out the turret the very first time. But after that, cannon guys need to shoot the turret on approach to their servitors so the throwers can do their job. Having your hands tied up and not being able to defend yourself sucks, so taking out their turrets go a long way into making this run as smooth as possible. Alright, as always, the middle thrower needs to get the plates that are going to be perpendicular to the left and the right ones that are the hardest to hit on the sides. Middle also gets the one that's basically in the very front on the floor. Throwers on the left and right are responsible for the ones on the far wall and also the plates that are right on the sides of Aksis. Do it just like that, and congrats guys, let's get on to Phase 2. Now throw on your highest light before grabbing the loot and then get back into your groups of 2. Now I've seen people do it 2 ways, but to keep it simple, I recommend that everyone keeps the same job you had during Phase 1. If you grabbed a cannon, then you keep grabbing cannon. If you throw, then you keep throwing. When you're empowered, just take your last charge over to your empowered side and throw it from there. If you end up having the cannon, just shoot it and hold the trigger as you run back to your empowered side. It's pretty simple here and everyone can do it. So for Aksis Phase 2, thankfully guys, the turrets go away. Now the only thing different here is that you're basically replaying the third round of Phase 1 every round. Instead of throwing at 7 plates located around Aksis, you now need to throw 8 charges at Aksis himself. In normal mode, you only had to throw 3, but now it's up to 8. It may sound complicated, but believe me guys, it's actually pretty easy. Just pretend that you're back on Phase 1 and you're on the last round. Same guys kill the captains, same guys throw the charges, the same players roam around with the cannons. However, since there is so much roaming going on, you need to give people some time to make it back to their empowered locations. So the player who is about to throw the very last Siva charge to down his shields needs to call it out. Last charge, everyone in position. Give it 3 to 4 seconds and then go ahead and throw it. After that, it's just like normal mode, guys. 3 random people become empowered, you call out your position, and the first thing to remember is if you're empowered, don't worry about doing damage to Aksis the first 2 teleports. If you're empowered, your first priority is to be in place, ready to stun him. Second priority is to be doing damage. If you can shoot him, well great, do it. If not, stay put and get ready. As we all know, damage really only comes from the last and final teleport. This is the longest stun out of them all. Use tethers, weapons of light, and of course the cannons. Guys with swords, if someone picked up your cannon in the middle, don't be afraid to get up close and use your sword on Aksis. It does a pretty damn good amount of damage. Dark Drinker is the best sword to use on Aksis. However, I don't recommend it because it's not the best sword to use on the captain. Don't take a chance if this is your first time beating Aksis in hard mode. Just stick with Raise Lighter for the captains. And then once you're doing damage on the last round, aim for his legs when swinging the sword. His health really hasn't increased all that much. We had him to a sliver by the second round, but played it safe and we ended up beating him on the third just so we had cannons to make sure we could take him out in case there were any extra surprises at the end. But that's it, ladies and gents. The only difference here is that you have to throw 8 charges to down his shields. There will be 9 servitors total, but it only takes 8 charges. So if you know you haven't missed any, then don't even worry about the last servitor. However, if you have plenty of time, go ahead and throw all 9, because Siva charges do a lot of damage, and that extra charge could be the difference between going an extra round or beating him right then and there. Just remember, guys, it's like the 3rd round of Phase 1 every round. Now, say for instance, if you grab the middle cannon, and you have Null, which is Void. If your first servitor comes out the middle, and then your second comes out left, the only other place for your 3rd servitor to be will obviously be right. Don't wait for a call out, go ahead and beat your servitor to the punch, and stand there waiting for him. This is by far, y'all, the easiest boss of the hard raid. They could have made this an absolute nightmare if they wanted to, but luckily it is not all that bad, though I think we might get a surprise when challenge mode debuts. That's it, guys. Practice makes perfect. Take your time, talk only when you're empowered, and you got this. As always, thank you all so much for watching and for supporting the smaller YouTuber. If you want to keep in touch with everything Sly Nation, follow me on Twitter at Sly Nation for everything Destiny related, as well as reviews from our favorite games. See you all next time, but until then, this is your boy Sly. Laters.